I mean, I've been knowing Scholar. We basically grew up together. Shit, we went to college, met each other. I think it was 2004. Ball of the year. Work ethic really brought us together. I mean, we both were really, really hard workers, grinders. Him being on defense, me being on offense, playing running back. So we seen a lot of each other. You know what I mean? And it was always a scrap. It was always a lot of respect for each other. So you know what I mean. We graduated college. He actually transferred, graduated college, still kept in, kind of kept tabs on each other. Ended up bumping into each other right around the time that I kicked off or was thinking about becoming a personal trainer, and he offered me my first home, man.
I was trying to poach him. I was trying to poach him. Well, me and Mike probably don't remember me a ton because Mike was a senior. So Mike was like the big dog on campus. He was an All-American running back, and so I was a running back actually. But Mike's right. I switched to defense. I was going to switch to defense. I might have even switched in the spring, actually. And that's probably
Charlie,
what it.
hey, Charlie wanted him.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I played down at Southern, and I got all conference for 2 years, and I was captain for 2 years. I mean, they were pissed when I left, but I just couldn't do it, man. I couldn't stay at Benedictine, but I did love it, dude. I had a blast. I had a blast with Steen and everything, but he was a hell of a football player, super strong with the weight room. And then, yeah, I was trying to poach him because I was down and starting my business in Florida, and I was like, man, I need a hard worker. I know he's got a mouthpiece, and so I was trying to get him to come down to my facility, and then he went and opened his own place, and I consulted him and tried to help him as much as I could and try to be there and answer any questions I could. And then, dude, he's done an awesome job and grown his place to an amazing facility. And I'm always trying to coach good coaches, take good coaches, dude. And so that's where me and him have stayed in contact. You always try to hold close the colleagues that you respect, and especially in fitness, it can be kind of hard. There's some bro science, and then there's some shysters, some used car salesmen. So that's where, like, when you get the good ones, you stay in contact. Mike, go ahead and tell us a little bit. Let's go into how you got into personal training and walk us through your career, because that's one of the things that I really want to do with the Iron Kingdom version of our podcast is talk to entrepreneurs. Which, being a personal trainer, you're an entrepreneur. You're a salesman. You're a coach. You're a nutritionist. You're all that stuff. So I want to talk about how you got into the business side and how you got into the personal training side and coaching side and where you're at now. So why don't you just walk us down how you got into the fitness industry?
Man, I actually gained a lot of weight, man. Right around just I had finished college, finished
Hmm.
football, kind of still had that same appetite for food, but my
Hmm.
lifestyle had changed. Didn't really feel the pressure, didn't really feel like I had gained too much weight. Um, I moved back to New Orleans, and I had a friend just kind of call me out, like, "Dog, you get fat." You know what I'm saying? And it was like a punch in the face. I went home. I turned sideways. I looked at the belly. I'm like, man, I do kind of got a dad bod, and at the time I didn't have any. I didn't have any kids, so it was kind of like, damn, I'm not as fine as I thought I was. When I started to try and lose the weight or get that body that I once had, man, it was tough, man. Like I said, I'm 30 now, and the football workouts aren't just working out. At the time, I don't even think cardio was in my vocabulary at the
Yeah.
time. You know what I mean? So like it was a very difficult journey. So it forced me to start to learn. It forced me to go out there and really kind of dig into the literature of training. You know what I mean? Like things like metabolism, counting the calories, being able to burn more than I intake. You know what I mean? I was just eating, man. Like I'm going to go in the weight room to kill it. It doesn't matter what I eat. Well, it probably works until you're about 22, 23. You know what I mean? On the other side of 25, things start to slow down. So everything that you eat sticks. So yeah, I had to create a plan. Throughout that, it kind of gave me that passion for fitness. You know what I mean? I transformed my body. I bumped into a few people. They were kind of like, man, you did really good. Could you help? And at first, I wasn't really a trainer. I wasn't even a people person, if I'm being honest. Like after sports and all of that limelight stuff, man, I just wanted to kind of, be on my own type of deal. Um, I ended up going to LA Fitness, and I seen that they were hiring for a personal training director. So I applied for the job at LA Fitness for their personal training director. I didn't really have the personal training experience, but I had the personality. I had the ability to, you know what I mean, manage people and kind of get their personal training program up to a, you know what I mean, up to a level that was sustainable. I went in.
And Mike was captain of our football team, so Mike's a leader. Mike was always one I looked up to when I was a young guy. Him and Garland was the other guy's name that I looked at up to their work ethic and how they carried themselves and stuff like that. And so that's another thing that we're guy that played college sports, right? Guy that's in athletics. That's something even employers are looking at. Because if
Right.
you're a captain of a football team, you're a captain of men. You're a leader of men. You're not just a leader. You're a leader of men, a leader of a bunch of alpha males. And so, and Mike was top dog, at least on the offense. He's one of the top dogs.
But once again, man, like I said, I come from very, very humble beginnings, man. So it was always instilled in me, like, no matter what it is, no matter what's going on, I mean, the world could be burning up around you. Work, work, work. It means progress. It means that you're going to actually, there's going to be benefits from it no matter what's going on. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
that kind of compelled me, like I said, throughout my football career. I was not a shifty, you know what I mean, running back. I really relied on I actually, I love the contact, if I'm being honest, because it gave me an opportunity to engage someone and overpower them. I mean, that's what bodybuilding is daily. You know what I mean? You go in the weight room and you're expecting a mass of something to move when you tell it to move. That was
Mm-hmm.
football for me. So, I mean, getting into that, going into that personal training director position with all of that passion, people that I was selling the personal training to didn't care too much for the trainers. So sometimes, in order for me to close a deal, I actually had to like throw them sessions with me. So now I'm kind of creating what I thought was a program, you know what I mean, at the time, and I'm getting results and people are coming in. Well, I mean, you know how that go. You start to look around and you're like, well, this big corporation, I don't really need you guys right now. You're
Yeah.
taking
Well, tell me
85, 90% of what I'm making.
is where Bromley was doing. They didn't like the trainers that much, so he was doing more of the training and the sales. So then, how long were you with them? And then what was the next move, brother?
So, like I said, I was with them for probably about, I want to say about maybe a year.
Mike, what you sold the 1 month? Mike had a really good month. He sold 20K, sold 20,000.
Yeah, I had a
Damn.
20K month, man, and I'm like, oh yeah, this check's about to be fat. You know what I mean? I'm already online purchasing shit, right? Nah, man. I think they gave me 1,800 of it, man. And like I said, it was just the money wasn't adding up, man. Like I was a new father when I moved to Dallas. Dallas is not the most inexpensive city, you know what I mean, in Texas. So, like I said, it was really I guess I was kind of forced that way. Like, if you're not gonna pay me for this service that I know that I'm capable of, then I might as well find an avenue to produce this service somewhere else. I found a guy who had his own brick and mortar. Um, Started to rent from him. It was a decent setup, man. Still in touch with the guy today, man. He's a really good trainer out in Dallas. But Dallas, like I said, is expensive. I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to pay for my living. You have to have a steady book. And like I said, me just getting in the game, that's not ideal. To have to
Mm-hmm.
pay an overhead, to have to pay, you know what I mean? Obviously, where you stay, to survive on your personal life, and to not have a set book or to have that, because there wasn't no sale protocol now. I didn't just have this big list from LA Fitness. It was really
Mm-hmm.
like, you got to go out and bump into some people type of deal. So
Yeah.
it got it
Yep.
got yeah, it got really, really tough, man. So I moved out to Washington 5 years ago. Started from pretty much scratch, man. I came out here on a wing and a prayer. Moved over with one suitcase that could hold everything I had while I was in Kansas City. I was supposed to get into some business with a friend, and the numbers just wasn't where I needed them to be. So instead of returning home with my tail tucked, I had to figure it out. Kind of dove in the community, started to reach out and get some really good results with the weight loss. At first, I started renting from a guy. The one thing about personal training, man, and it depends on the clientele that you have. If you plan on doing it for yourself or you plan on creating a brand, if you can't control the environment, then you probably aren't going to be really successful. So it really kind of pushed me into that brick and mortar of my own because I couldn't really control the environment. It was one of the things that was really big to me. I want to say within 2 years of being here, I moved into a 1,000 square foot little studio, man. I was in there for about a year. COVID hit. I had to figure it out again. I went online. I went online for about 3 or 4 months when they first did the real big shutdown in Washington. Washington was really, really stiff on keeping those doors closed on the gyms, finding people. They were taking licensing. Like it was a real tough time. But I was really able to make a great impact online, really to just kind of deliver the same energy that I deliver in person. That online buzz pushed me into a bigger facility. So now I'm in a 2,500 square foot facility. Clientele is once again on the rise.
When I first moved to my place, bro, the build out was delayed 3 months, and I was like, I better get my ass moving. So I went door to door down Seminole Boulevard. It was, it was like a highway. I don't know, Belt Highway in St. Joseph. I don't know, but it was a 2-lane highway on both sides and businesses side by side by side. I'm like, I just got to, like you said, I got to get my word. I got to get the word of mouth out myself. And then as you start to get people and you get clients, then they help you spread. But okay, so what did you do when you were at that point? Because that was early in your career, and I've been there as a trainer.
So
What was?
I'm gonna be completely honest, man. It broke me because, like I
Yeah.
said, I had never experienced that bottom. Like it felt like failure. You know what I mean? So I hopped the train back to Kansas City, man. I went to Kansas City. I got away from the fitness and I started pouring concrete.
Mm.
So I started pouring
I did
concrete.
that as a sophomore in high school. It is a
Hey,
hard fucking job, bro. Son of a bitch.
let's just say it
Woo.
wasn't no personal training, damn
No.
it. So, I mean, at that point, man, like I said, I felt like I needed to just put my head down, man, and just get into some manual labor, man, not really have to listen to anybody. Like I said, for me, it was an all-time low. I went from an All-American, a graduate of college to, you know what I mean, barely being
Now,
able to make it.
did you stay in good shape when you went into that? Because I was young and I was doing college. I was doing high school football, and prepping for it. So I obviously didn't gain weight. But sometimes when you do some of the manual labor jobs, you'll eat fast food, eat at the gas station. Did you gain weight back? Did you stay
So
fit?
I didn't really gain weight back, but because it was so physical, I lost muscle in areas that I've always had volume. Like my
Mm-hmm.
legs, because I'm always walking in the boots all damn day. My legs had went down. You walking on concrete all day. I had lost my ass. You know what I'm saying? Like it was the manual look. You know what I mean? Like the strong arms, the strong shoulders, but your
Well, yeah, because
bottom
that
half is
comes.
suspect.
Yeah, well, for sure, because you start looking at the biomechanical movement or the movement patterns that you're doing to that job. So, like, yeah, you might be crouching down a little bit, but not everybody's bending down and picking up the rebar and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But
Exactly.
or they might bend it over. So, like you said, hey, if you're bending over, but then you'd have some ass then because you get some glutes in that. So that's the thing, though, is I tell people, I'm like you said, you'll see the guys that are very overdeveloped sometimes in the forearms, the biceps, the shoulders. Okay, they're construction workers, right? They fucking have their hands up while they're hanging sheetrock. They're doing so. That's the type of stuff that people understand. Like you do have to train for certain looks because you have to stimulate those muscles and stuff. So, like,
So
if you kept squatting like you did when you played college football, you'd still have like the tree trunk legs, but you got the muscle memory, so they come back, I'm sure, quick.
but then when you look around the job site and stuff, though, man, because quick little funny story, I had bought some cheap boots, man, because I didn't plan on doing that shit for long, right? Well, maybe about 6 weeks into it, man, those boots gave out, bro, and my back went out.
Oh
And I
no.
was like, what the? Like, it literally blew my mind, bro, because I had never had problems with my back. Like, I ain't been a back, knee, none of that, you know what I mean, type of guy. So when it went out, bro, I went back to work the next day and I'm like, man, I ain't really gonna be able to do no heavy shit. Like, my back is out. Old
Yeah.
guy walks over to me and he says, it's your shoes. And I'm looking like, bro, 30 years old, ain't my damn shoes, you know what I mean? Man, I went and invested in some brand new boots, man. And let's just say I was speedy the next day, man. They were like, damn, I guess he's back. You know what I mean? But it was really crazy that those jobs don't put those people in those situations. Like they teach them how to run the machine, they teach them how to do all of that stuff, but they don't teach them how to properly lift. They don't teach them how to
Mm-hmm.
bend at the knees when they're when they're working that heavy ass saw. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
those guys end up when that career is over, 10 or 15 years, and they end up with hip replacement. They end up with shoulder. You know what I mean? Like it made me think about like the mechanics of everything, like you were talking about.
You're 100% right. That's where, I tell people when you're doing that manual labor, everyday life is what I tell my clients and people we talk to about fitness is like, hey, if you're carrying your groceries, there's a farmer's walk, right? There's a
Yes,
one-sided farmer's walk, or maybe it's a double hand. If you're moving stuff up in the shelves, okay, there's a military press and overhead press. It's front delts, and so that's where it is cool though, like you said, Mike, to start to be able to reach people like that. Now, the hard part is when we're in PT, you have to do what? You have to sell it. So now we have to build value. We have to, use things like fear of missing out, creating urgency, stuff like that, because even though they need it, now we have to convince them they need it. It's not like strength and conditioning coaching. We did a strength and conditioning podcast with one of the guys, a strength and conditioning coach the other day, and they already have athletes coming to them, right? So, like when you're a personal trainer, even a commercial personal trainer for a gym or something, you still have to go find those people. And so that's even doesn't matter if you have the best program. Hey, we still have to go out and so um, you doing what you did with LA Fitness though, doing the PT sales, that you probably conquered that fear pretty quickly right there. See, for
yes.
me, yeah, see, for me, I was a personal trainer for almost a year, and then I went into PT management, and then that's when I got over my hump because I was forced to make the calls, the cold calls, just the lists of names. How has it been for you now, though, that you're independent and you have to not just sell, but you have to also train what you sell?
Oh, man, so to be honest, man, I think the training part of it is easy. Once again,
Mm-hmm.
there's always going to be that passion, and as long as you know what I mean, you understand what it is you're actually selling, then you should be good at it. I think the hard part now is just feeling like I'm wasting time sometimes when I'm talking to people that I know bullshitting because I've been doing it for so long. Or I think
Mm-hmm.
some of the woes are like getting people who won't follow your program. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if you're giving 85% of it, you're winning today. To find somebody who'll come into your program and do 85% of what you're asking them to do. You know what I mean? I think that's probably the hard part of what I'm doing right now, having on those different masks. Um, I think I could be more formal with the sales because of the environment that I'm in. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, I think that when you're talking to people, when you're selling it, it for me it flows smooth because I'm passionate about what I'm saying. I know exactly what I'm going to give you, but that doesn't always work for everybody. Everybody's
Mm-hmm.
not always looking for that passion. Everybody's not looking for that raw. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So like having to go from something that I'm 92% of the day to just this, I mean, it's gonna be okay, and it's gonna, you know what I mean? Like that for
Mm-hmm.
me has been like the hard part of the selling for me. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, it's good. You're gonna buy it. If you're not, then that's cool. Somebody's gonna buy it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and what he's talked about, me and Brumley talked about it the other day, and I put it in our coaching sheets for Ready to Win. It's called mirroring, so you can mirror your prospect. So if you're whoever's sitting across, if they're very energetic, you want to bring some good energy. You don't want to sit back and be. But if it's somebody that's sitting down and like a little bit more relaxed and chill, then you want to approach it more that way. It's like if I come up, we're talking, I'm probably going to be cursing like a sailor. I just let it. I just say whatever I want to say, but if you get me in a situation where I have to go to a work event with Samantha, it's going to change that up and stuff like that. And so that's one of the things that when Brumley said it, he was actually telling Dustin about it because Dustin's so to the point about it. And Brumley's like, feel out your person. If they need you to spend a little bit more time and be a little bit slower and not just jump right to the program, then you have to mirror them. And so it's a good point. Exactly. And that's just like one tactic for sales, but that's where, everything I ever tell people is that you have to be a salesman. You have to be a coach.
Like I said, for me, I've been I've been able to get some really crazy results, man, in like in short amount of time, man. So like when I put it out there and people come to me, I genuinely assume like, I mean, shit, you seen the post? They did like 70 pounds in like 3 months. Like, so you got to be serious. You know what I mean? I automatically assume you're serious. So when it don't go that way, I think those are the ones that kind of like me take a step back and kind of look at them and or look at myself and see how I could have delivered that differently. Kind of like Scarlett was saying with that mirror image. Maybe I was too hard. Maybe I was too cold. Maybe I was too cut and dry. You know what I mean? So for me, that's what I'm spending this year trying to figure out. You know what I mean? Where to meet people at. You know what I mean? Just because they seen the post, just because they seen my level of intensity on the internet does not mean that it's going to adhere, you know what I mean, to the program. Like I said, if you can get somebody to do shit 60, 70% of what we were just talking about, then it's a win these days because people are so consumed selfishly with what they have. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna let you make an excuse that I wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't make, couldn't do it because I didn't have time. Really? If you rewind your day and you look at, you know what I mean, map your day out and what you done and the time that was wasted. I mean, you had 90 minutes of phone time where you could have prepped your food. You know what I mean? And when you put it like that, some people take offense to that. Like you're not gonna separate me from me and my, you know what I mean, me and my phone. So we're in that age, man, where people just love to be comfortable. Being comfortable is a problem. If you are comfortable, you might want to look around because some shit's about to happen. You know what I mean? Like hell, you know what I mean? But now, I mean, everybody's okay. Everybody's it's all right. It's okay. You know what I mean? You look good anyway. I mean, are you healthy? You know what I mean? Where's your
Yeah.
heart? You know what I mean? For me, it's really tough to have those conversations with people. And like you said, if I have you come in and I had a person come in maybe a year ago who was your same weight, maybe older than you, maybe a mother of three, and you don't even have kids, and you're gonna tell me that you're following the program and you're not losing any weight? Like you said, I'm offended because you sat across from me and I thought we confided in each other. You know what I mean? Like you gave me that eye contact and we shook hands and you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, it's just that lost art, man. Which to be honest with you, kind of forces me over to your side of the fence a little bit more. Because
Mm-hmm.
now it's not so personal. Now I'm not in
For
your
sure.
face giving you all of me for 3 months only for you to be like, I mean, it kind of worked.
Well,
You kind of worked.
it allows you to, when you go online, and I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but Cliff's in New York City and Austin. My buddy down here, I went. He's working for an online company right now out of New York City, and they're doing one-on-one like video sessions and stuff like that, which is great. But it's just showing that everything has the capability of going online. Yeah, some people may be more successful. They may not be. Not it may not fit for everybody, but you expand that um the what is it, the radius, the diameter, whatever the hell it is, the regions that you can pull from for people to work with you is much wider when you go online and things like that, because now distance isn't a factor, because we've got these 4K cameras, 1080 cameras. You can do it from your phone, you can do it from your TV, you can do it. And so that's what really helps with the online thing. And then it gets you to where now Steam, sometimes what's hard is, it sucks, but sometimes somebody's going through a breakup. Maybe they've been, sexually assaulted as a child, and so now they're eating their emotions still. Some of these poor kids that Sam has to do their trials and stuff, they eat because they want to look disgusting, so they don't get touched anymore. And so you have all these crazy things. Maybe somebody threw up from trying to make weight in high school with sports for wrestling or bot fighting or whatever. So you have these people that have these different things. So it's so much psychological realm where it's like, hey, now we have to find out. Athletes are easy because we all have the same mindset. We want to be the best and we want to win championships
Right.
and we don't want to lose. And so that's why it's
Right.
easier to coach that type of person in the psychological aspect. The general population is a lot harder because now you've got, people that like to build in excuses. Maybe you got the person that pushes too hard. You got all these different personalities and things like that. football, I had trouble when I was captain my junior and senior year because some people were like, "Oh, Skylar, they're not like you," and I'm like, "Well, you fucking better get like me because this is like 300. This is Spartan shit. This is fucking where we're going to war. We're trying to win games. Like it's non-negotiable. You know, not when
Yeah.
I'm up at top. You know, but with general population, you get and you're like, oh, you know, you got to really patty cake them sometimes. Sometimes you got, and that's fine and that's great. But that's where it's hard because if you're in an area and you're over there on the West Coast where sometimes it's a little bit more liberal, people maybe are a little bit more softer, you know. Then you go to the Midwest, maybe you got people that got tougher skin, but Midwest ain't going to pay for personal training. I mean, you got people like my dad that are still throwing hay and shit like that. So that's why when you go online, and this is what we said the other day with Cliff, you had all these people back in the day saying, "Oh, if I was in your area, Mike, I'd train with you." Well, now you
Right.
can, motherfucker. I got a fucking
Yep.
online program. Where are you
Right.
going now, motherfucker?
Right.
I got an
Yep.
ebook.
Yep.
Something. I can help you somewhere. And that's
Yes.
where, you know, for you, how many years have you been personal training now?
8.
8 years. So he's just behind me. He's one. Cliff's done 9 years or 10 years. Cliff was 10 years. I'm on my 11th year. So Mike's way up there. Now it's just, you know, you're starting to get to where I'd say only in the last 3 to 4 years is where I really started moving more online. So I was, you know, I've been doing online since 2013, but it wasn't even COVID that pushed me there. It was just not wanting to be doing the, like you said, we talked about it on another podcast. It just drains you, you know. When I was doing
Totally.
8 hours straight of
Totally.
30-minute sessions, but that's where that's where it's cool to bring people on like this, Mike, because when I first started, they didn't even let you text. You probably were doing sales, but they didn't want you texting. They, you know, we had, like I said before on another podcast, we did had extensions, but now they're letting you use your cell phones more. Now they're letting you use social media more. But it's a grinder game, and that's why you've always been great at it. But now you're kind of at a crossroads where you like Mike's. And I'll let Mike talk about it here. What I want to go with this that next little segment that we haven't done a ton in the past ones. I want to talk about where your future plans of your business are going. You know, like you
So
said, you've got some stuff that he's kind of changed because he had trainers, and now you're going more by yourself. Correct?
yes, sir. So I'm gonna
Okay.
take more of a wellness approach. My lady's a registered nurse, and one of the orthopedic surgeons that she works with, he's been having some chronic pain, and I've always told him, you know what I mean. And anybody who's ever came to me, corrective exercise is also one of my specialties. It's allowed me to go out there, or allowed them to go out there and really talk about it. Because
Mm-hmm.
although physical therapy is good, strength training is probably more important than physical therapy, because if we're strengthening the muscles, then we don't have to worry so much.
Well,
So
for sure, it's more of like a progression, right? Like your physical therapist, they're going to take you to a certain point, and then let's be honest, after the insurance, they kind of say, "Hey, see you, good luck with everything." So
right,
that's where you'd have a good strength and conditioning or personal trainer or somebody like that, then take over your program design, kind of like what I'm going to do with Zach's mom. Or I'm supposed to. I don't know if he's still setting it up, but he was supposed to set me up. His mom broke her hip, I believe, or femur, and so after physical therapy, obviously strength training. I think she had pre-osteoporosis. So, but anyway, older women to fight osteoporosis, strength training is mandatory. And so that's
yes,
where after a certain point, you with the physical therapist, even if you continue working with them, now they're starting to leave their scope of practice, right? And you're starting to get
yep,
into actual programming and strength and, you know, even hypertrophy. You talk hypertrophy and shit like that. I mean, that's just not what they do, you know, and it is what it is because we don't do it at their level and stuff like that. But yeah, that's going to be super exciting for you, man. I'm very excited about that. We want to make sure that we do this as well on the podcast. We'll do it right now so I don't forget. We want to tell how we get with you to coach with you, how we get to your social media, your IG, your Facebook. If you're doing a YouTube channel, you know, we want to give you a little pump right here and get your name out there.
definitely, definitely.
So tell us
Um,
how to contact you, brother. What's your IG? What to email you at for training? If they want to train with Mike Steen, how do we get them a hold with you?
so Instagram is the MikeWay24. Email is the MikeWay24 at gmail.com. My Facebook is Mike Steen. I do a lot of posting. I do a lot of marketing on Facebook.